Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to Rise Above TV, where we are empowering humanity and supporting unity. You're watching P3, the place where we interview individuals who have tapped into their power, passion, and purpose. I'm your host, Janie Terrazas, and today I'm with one of my favorite gentlemen, and I say that with intention. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I have Gylon Jackson with me today. He is a digital media consultant. Hey, Guy. He is an incredible podcast producer, and he's the creator of the PEP Squad Podcast, which I was a guest on. Thank you so much for having me. And you were also the individual who put together pep talks at Dream Week that just took place last week. So thank you so much for all that you're doing in the community to be a beacon of light for others to live that authentic, deliberate, intentional, mindful life. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Janie.
Where are you originally from? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Very interesting question. I was actually born in Lompoc, California. I was there for a year. Then I was in Houston, Texas for 15 years. And then from Houston, I moved to San Antonio, and I've been calling San Antonio home now for 30 plus years.
Wow. So you pretty much consider yourself a San Antonio.
Texan. I'm a Texan. I'm a San Antonio through and through. Go Spurs, go. Hate the Cowboys. Only thing I hate really in my life is the Cowboys. That and peas and liver and the Cowboys. Two things I don't like in life. So
peas, liver, and the Cowboys.
Yes.
Speaking of peas, it's all about P3, power, passion, purpose. That's what this whole little project of mine is all about. I don't want to call it little. I don't want to call it little because
don't minimize it. Don't minimize it.
Right. Let us not minimize it, because each of us really are doing our part to make an impact in some way, or a lot of us are, and you're one of those people. So I want to know, what does power mean to you? Like, where do you get power from? What does that word signify? And then we can kind of get into the passion and purpose, because they're all intertwined.
Yeah. So power's from living. I think you're born in your power. It's not something that you just, it's something you rediscover, right?
Yeah.
It's always there. The good is something you rediscover. Love is something you rediscover. But power, my power is always there. I get an incredible amount of energy from people too, though. I think that's one of the most misunderstood things, that when you're around other people, whether you're hugging, whether you're talking, you call it fellowship, you can call it church, whatever you want to call it. That's when you're together with people and you are literally, feeling that other person, vibrating with them. I think that's where I get power from. So I haven't transcended or ascended to the place where I can just sit still and be in a room and gain power from that. But I will tell you that my power comes from, meditation. It comes from, thinking positive and wanting to be a good human, but also from other people. The other night we did the PEP Talks, which we were a part of, Positive Energy People Talks. It's going to be like TED Talks. We're going to take over the world. But that was a powerful time for me. Now, what I did do for the next 2 days is I really didn't get out and do much, because I was recharged and I wanted to bask in the glory of what we had created as a group, the energy. And you speak about power, you're asking power, but man, at the end, when Nydia set us down and we owned, like, I had tears coming down my face. It was something I had manifested and I thought about for a long time, and it came true to where I had a group of like-minded people sitting around and owning. and just really, that moment was one of the most special moments that I can think of in my life. Seriously. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know that in the last couple of years, you've been going through a lot of different changes and transitions and shifts shedding skins, and self-care and self-love is a big part of just your day-to-day walk, your day-to-day life. Tell us a little bit more about like your self-care practice.
So I don't necessarily have a set rituals as of yet, even though I've been on this journey for a while. But I do think that doing the same thing day in and out sometimes can really, really, really hurt who you really are. I think we got to switch it up. I take different ways to work. I drive different ways. I don't take Lyft too many times. I may take Uber, all these little different things like that. I do different things. So myself, the one thing I do with self-care is right now I'm in the part of I am enough,
Mm.
and just listening to meditation music before and after I go to bed. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm listening to certain music. When I go to bed at night, I'm listening to certain music. Even at night, I'm listening to subliminal messages. I had a lot of mind junk in here. I had a lot of things that was telling me I was not worthy. I was not valuable. I couldn't do it on my own. I needed somebody to do it with me. I wanted a partner. And part of that's because I saw my parents together now for 40 years, see my parents together for 48 years. So I wanted to remove, so I'm really, your brain is your brain should be a piece of software, not a piece of hardware, because hardware is harder to change. I think your brain should be more software. So what I'm doing is I'm downloading new programs,
Yes.
new ways of thinking, new ways of doing stuff into my brain, and
Yeah.
saying, hey, there is no one way to do anything. Like literally, be a good human, don't be a dick.
It's
So,
a great simple
if
model
I had to say,
motto.
yeah, if I had to say where my thought process is right now, or what my self-care routine is, it's trying to walk more. And I'm a little heavier now, so trying to walk more, lose weight. But the biggest thing is really working on my mind. I lost a lot of weight 8 years ago, couldn't keep it off. But I think once I get this right,
Yeah.
everything else will come into focus.
Yeah, you were talking about the brain, and really there's a word called neuroplasticity. So we
Yes.
understand now that we can actually rebuild our brains, and the subconscious mind is like the software. So for us to want to really create a shift or a change in our reality, we kind of had to go into our personality, which is the subconscious mind, and see what are the course corrections we have to do. So it really
Sure.
is sort of this mental game. And if you
Sure.
can learn how to become, I call it like being a Jedi. It's like, I believe all of us are here to become Jedis for love,
This is heaven. You are 100% correct. I do believe, and it's weird because I'm really working on the concept of we are all special. We're different, but we're all special. We all have a superpower. We all have something that we can do. It's tapping into it. If you live within here, that's where it is. It's not outside of you. It's not somebody else. We all have issues. We all have challenges. We all have demons. We all have vices.
Yes.
It's getting rid of those and living within yourself, and then picking other people up.
Yeah, it's like doing that. They call it shadow work.
Yes.
I know that you are really talented when it comes to on-air hosting gigs. Like you've been doing that for some time now.
You would be great with it also. I mean, I know you got the Rise Above TV, but we need to get you on the radio. But I don't know if people can handle you though.
That's so funny. I did radio when I lived in LA, and it was a lot of fun. So when podcasting kind of came out, it just made sense for me to sort of like drop into that arena.
Of course.
And I know that that's one of your passions is, you have the gift to gab. What are some of the other things that you really love, and how do you tie that into your day? Because living in a place of passion, that's really where a lot of people are suffering, because they're like dead, there's really no excitement or enthusiasm to life.
Right.
And so how do you anchor that in for yourself?
So that's a really good question. For me, it's bringing people together and being a part of community, not communities, but being part of community, creating community, right? And I have to create it around podcasting, around video casting, now around positivity, because that's where I am. I know Angel Santiago, our friend the other day, was talking about people being one way in work and another person when they get home. No, I'm the same person. I don't understand how somebody can pick up the phone and be all nice and sweet to people at work and then go home and be an ass to their family. So what that means is
accountability. It's that accountability.
Exactly. You have the capacity to be a good human when you're at work because somebody's paying you, but who's paying you in love and support and happiness. At home, you want to be an asshole to them. I can't reconcile that in my head. So I am literally the same person, whether I am working or whether I am, and generally it's working on myself because I've been self-employed, but whether I'm working or whether I am at home, just go do it. Be who the F you are, because nothing else matters, man.
I know.
Like,
Authenticity is
you got to be
so
authentic. Brene Brown talks about being authentic and saying things and living in those moments and being in those moments. And, it's, so you were saying, like, how do I live that? Well, getting out of my own way, forgiving myself, and not dragging in my dirt from the past. As I'm sitting here talking to you now, I'm really thinking about, my mind's like, where did you come from, Gylon? What have you done? Who are you? And I don't know who I am. Dr. Joseph Spenza says, no body, no where, no how. I don't know anymore because I don't want to remember what was yesterday. I don't want to remember the person from yesterday because that does not define me as the person I am in this moment. When you take a moment and you realize that we are not what we think we are, and we really have no idea who we really are. So we don't have to hold on to vices like drugs, drinking, sex, even though I'll hold on to that vice. But we don't have to hold on to those vices, right?
Yeah.
Because those vices don't define us. And people say, well, what makes you happy? Well, what made me happy is not necessarily going to make me happy today.
Right. It's a way of being in the now moment. It's part of that mindfulness and really being present.
Yes.
And seeing being present is a present. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like giving yourself the gift of that.
A present, yeah.
You do so much in the community and you draw a lot of your, like you say, your power and your passion from that. And in doing so, you're living purposefully. You were talking about who you were yesterday and not being real rigid and being real flexible and malleable. I like it. It's kind of like Bruce Lee says, be like water,
Yes.
The more you are attuned and tuning in to your true self, then you naturally start to align with the power, passion, and you start to feel purposeful.
And I think for me, they always talk about doing one thing, and I think it's a superpower for you and me, but it's also almost our kryptonite, is having that brain that's all over the place, that's doing all these things. And it's almost like we need note cards for our day just to say, hey, do this, do this, do this.
I know, it's like harnessing it because we're like, and it's so great, and you're this like creative, artistic source. There's a TED Talk called it's about people like us, and they call them multi-potentialites.
Oh, that's me. That is me. I am a multi. It is literally on. Hold on, see if I can find it. It is literally, since you brought that up, because people are like, yeah, whatever, you're not telling the truth. It is literally on my resume, and I put that I'm a multi-potentialite. Like, there is nothing else to me than being that multi-potentialite, because I truly believe there is nothing that I cannot do if given enough time to learn. I do have some core competencies, some web development stuff, WordPress, video work, a little bit of photography. However, and I tell you, it's wild. It's wild. And I'm so happy you brought up multi-potentialite, because that is, like, for me, so legit. Because it gave me a sense of being. It gave me a sense of purpose.
Right.
Everybody has, oh, you're this and you're type A and you're NFGBD, ABC,
ENFP, all that.
Yeah, ENFP and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't mean anything to me. One day I'm an extrovert, next day I'm an introvert, and it's not based on drugs. It's just who I am, right? It's not like I'm bipolar. I'm just Gylon. Like, you know what? I don't want to do anything today, so I'm going to lay in bed. And the next day I was like, I want to be out and I don't want to stop. And I may not want to stop for 2 weeks. And I may want to stop one time. And that's okay. You can call me a chameleon if you want to, but I'm a multi-potentialite, and I love it. But I need to connect with people that are living life purposes, not just one. Like what?
I see what you mean.
What is it? They got multi-purposes. Like, what? My purpose today is not the same purpose that it was 10 years ago, right? And that may be good to get somebody else, but I think there's an evolution in going to another level. I think there's an evolution in going to another space. I think there's an evolution in not being who you were yesterday and not being so sure of exactly what's going on in life. Because a lot of people or defining themselves by waking up at 5 o'clock, looking at their kids, being back home at 5 o'clock, looking at their kids again. Then you got the day in between there, but then you got that drive time traffic, but you're listening to, music with sad songs, or you're listening. What are you doing to grow your life? What are you doing to change your cards? What are you doing to shift your epigenetics? What are we doing to do those things? That's where I am. What the fuck are we doing to change things?
Yeah.
And but then that's somebody else's definition of happiness. And I may die broke, under a bridge, still talking, right? But that's my journey. And it's not how I'm going to die, right?
Of course not. But the whole point you're trying to make is that you really are enjoying it's not about the destination, right? It's that saying that
I
journey.
don't.
You're like taking in all the stuff in
I'm
between.
taking it in, and it's helping me. It's helping me to get to where I need to go.
Absolutely,
it's helping me to where I need to get to go. And where am I going? I don't know.
Isn't it exciting?
It's beautiful.
I really appreciate that you mentioned that there are times when you're go, do, and then there's just a downtime, and then it's like an extended period of downtime, and you listen to that, and that's being very self-aware of the body and what it needs, and so you honor restoration, and so I appreciate you for that. Go ahead. You were going to say.
And even when you look at the word disease, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dis-ease, right? So that means you're out of alignment. Yeah. Somebody said, well, what's your religion? This is back before I kind of realized that I really don't have a religion. But what came to mind was my religion's I don't know. Mm-hmm. Now, there are things that I feel, there are things that I understand, and there are things I can look back and say, oh, I knew that was going to happen. But the truth is, we have no idea. We literally have because our brain can take us 20 different thousand ways at a time. So I'm thinking like maybe my TED Talk or my first pep talks that I do is going to be on the power of I don't know, the power of not knowing, instead of trying to know everything, right? Because you can't be great in knowing everything, but you can be great in not knowing. Because if you don't know, then you're a sponge. You're willing to take other things in.
You can really take in that feedback from others and evolve, like you said. Exactly. So I love everything that you had to share. I think you really gave some golden nuggets of wisdom that people can take with them. And I mentioned earlier you were a gentleman, and there is a gentleman's movement that is taking place, and all of us are going through a healing and a shifting. Men have their trauma and wounds that they're addressing, bring balance into their lives, and women do. And so thank you for doing your best to be one of those men who is learning how to protect and lead, but at the same time still honoring their heart and their spirit, and leading and protecting from like the gentleman's way. I'm looking forward to working on a project with you too. So that's to come.
Yeah, we're working on, Janie, we're going to be in each other's lives for a while. Yeah. I see something in you that there's a power when you were on that stage. I don't think I've seen anything like it in years. It is literally amazing what you're doing. It's the fact that you didn't even know some of the things you're doing, like the snaps and everything else like that. You are absolutely amazing on stage, and you just harness it. Figure out how to harness it. Put the cards up there, do it, and forget who you are.
Yeah,
because if you're up there and you forget who you are, then you're not trying to be who you want to be. You're just being. Ooh,
that's a good one.
What?
I'm gonna have to make sure I write that down. That'll be
wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to that because I don't even know what I said. Like it just came, and I was like, I couldn't stop it. It was there.
Yeah, and I love that you're able and willing to just intuitively go there. And you're right. It's like being like the wind, on stage, and just allowing what I like to call like spirit, Holy Spirit,
take over.
That unconditional love that everything is coming from. So when people ask, what's my religion? I say, love is my religion. More specifically, unconditional love is my religion.
If you call it God, love, or the universe, I don't care, any one of those three. And it's actually love, the universe, and your God, right? Because everybody doesn't have the same God.
Yes.
That's another thing that we're chasing on earth and not realizing, wow. Anyway, yeah, that's a whole nother talk.
That is another talk. This one's been awesome, but you're right. It is about helping people expand their perspectives and learning how to have civil conversations. And we can all learn and grow from, listening to each other and hearing each other's stories and being united in that way. Are there any last words that you'd like to leave us with? And if there is a page that you'd like to direct people to so they can contact you, please feel free to do so.
You can contact me in the vein of pep texts. If somebody just wants to talk, call 210-782-8002. Leave a message. I'll get back to you within 24 hours, right? If you just want to talk, talk about life, talk to somebody who's not going to judge you for your what's ever going on. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, nor do I ever want to be one. I'm just a human living an everyday life. And I think we need to connect more with people. So 210-782-8002. You can follow me on Facebook. You can Google me. But words of wisdom, don't let perfect get in the way of possible. And I think that's the number one thing, because what happens is we overthink so many things. And I've been a victim of that for 10 years. I've been a victim of holding myself back for at least 10 years. Of not wanting to be the best. And it's a daily battle. I got this proposal I got to work on right now. It is a daily battle fighting myself. Mm-hmm. And, we can live with smiles on our faces. And my soul feels pretty good. My heart feels pretty good. My mind is feeling amazing. But that doesn't mean I'm always doing good. So just be who you are and don't let perfect get in the way of possible, and write your own damn fairy tale when it comes to love. Yes, we want to be in love with it, but what's happening is we're falling for the visual and not the spiritual.
Exactly. Fantasy.
It's the fantasy. So create your own fantasy. Screw TV fairy tale, book fairy tales, write your own fairy tale. And don't let perfect get in the way of possible.
I'm telling you, I don't know how many quotes you dropped in this little interview here, but there were several good ones.
But it's funny because we start saying these things and we first think that we're a little crazy because we can't find like-minded people. And it's a different type of brain that thinks this way and talks this way on a consistent basis. That comes from a place of love, compassion, openness. So, yeah.
Thanks again, Gylon. I really appreciate it. All the power and love to you and all your endeavors and aspirations. I'm looking forward to doing more work with you.
Janie, thank you so much. And pretty soon this podcast studio is going to open up. We're going to have beautiful lighting and everything else. It's going to be awesome. So
I'm excited. And I also want to thank everyone for tuning in to Rise Above TV, where we are empowering humanity and supporting unity. Your likes, shares, follows is helping us spread the love. And next week, we will be meeting with the Inspiration Igniter, Jennifer Kupzer. And I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right, but she is a world-winning baton twirler, humanitarian. Her life story is crazy, and she's got so much energy. She's going to pop off the screen. So she'll be with us next week. So be sure to tune in to P3, Power, Passion, and Purpose. And until then, peace be in us all.